And good Tuesday evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 63 of Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. What's up, Taryn? Good evening. I'm Bobby Cash. I'll be joined shortly by Chris Amos. He'll be with us in a few minutes. And as we come on the air tonight, I'm staring at a frozen screen of John Elway on my screen. And for those that watched John Elway's career and saw him play with the Denver Broncos and saw him win Super Bowls, can you believe John Elway is 62 years old? Where does the time go? So tonight we're going to talk Phillies and moves they need to make in the bullpen and who they can trade to make these moves and what spots can be opened up. And we'll talk the NHL conference finals and we'll talk the NBA finals. Got Colorado taking on Edmonton tonight. And the Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the New York Rangers. That was a great Game 7 for the Rangers. They went on the road and beat the Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina had been undefeated at home in the playoffs and winless on the road, as a matter of fact. Good evening, Adam. Thanks for joining us. Carolina was playing great home ice hockey. And the Rangers came out, got 2 power play goals in the first period, and never looked back. They went on win the game easily in front of a crowd that featured a couple thousand Rangers fans. I guess the Memorial Day, if I had to look at a frozen screen of John Elway, I'd probably close the screen super quick. Well, I was watching the pregame for the Edmonton, Colorado game, and he's actually on the panel with Wayne Gretzky, Rick Tocchet, and a couple hosts. I guess because the game's in Denver, or in Colorado, so John Elway's there. I'd probably close the screen super quick. So yeah, I was saying the Memorial Day probably helped out with the New York fans getting to travel down to Carolina and take in Game 7. So we have that, and we have, of course, the Golden State Warriors will take on the Boston Celtics. So we kind of saw that coming as the playoffs developed. You saw Phoenix go down, and you saw Boston just cranking up the defense whenever they had to, and winning every game they've had to. They've gone through Brooklyn, they've gone through Milwaukee, and now they've gone through Miami. So they didn't have an easy path at all. Just because I'm a Chargers fan, they didn't have an easy path, and they cut their way right through the playoffs. They took the hard way. And it's not going to get any easier as they take on Golden State, a team that we all know can shoot the lights out. It's going to be really interesting to see Boston's defense take on Golden State's offense. It's going to be a chess match, really. Two great teams, great role players for each team. Draymond Green, a defensive player, and a great defensive team in Boston. Marcus Smart and Robert Williams. I just hope everybody's healthy on Boston so we get to see everybody, at their best. It's a hot one here on the East Coast today. Went up to, I believe, 97 degrees here in Philadelphia today. It was a scorcher out there. It's going to cool off the next couple days. And speaking of cooling off, the Philadelphia Phillies, 7 games below 500. They have spent almost $1 billion on this team. And Chris will join me shortly. And nobody's been more of a, I wouldn't call us detractors, but Chris called it. He said the Phillies were going to be down 10 games. And not only 10, they're down 11 and a half. So you look at this team, and it's not a well put together baseball team. It's not a team with speed, power, this, that, fielding. They have no fielding. It's what if Donovan McNabb was in better shape in that Super Bowl versus the Patriots? Kale, thanks for joining me. I don't know. That was the Super Bowl where the Patriots had the Eagles game plan, and if you sit here and you listen to Jeremiah Trotter, you listen to even Brian Westbrook. Brian Westbrook, he does a local show here, and I've heard it from more than one former Eagle that the Eagles were lining up on offense, and the Patriots were calling out their play. They knew what play the Eagles were going to run. I know people can say, yeah, they watched the tape. They watched the tape, all right. They were at the Eagles practice for the Super Bowl. They had spies and they recorded their practice. So yeah, I don't know if a healthy Donovan McNabb really would have made a difference. What if Mike Vick didn't dogfight? You guys are funny. Terrell Owens killed McNabb following that Super Bowl. Yeah, he did. T.O., he got us there on his own. He carried the Eagles through that season. Sorry, I'm trying to get some water on me. Lost a lot of water out there today. It was a hot day. Speaking of losing a lot of water, Chris is out there umpiring right now. I'm sure he's feeling it. So I listen to and I watch Twitter and I listen to the Phillies fans, and the hot topic right now is let's fire Joe Girardi. Now, I don't care if we had Sparky Anderson, if we had Tony La Russa and Casey Stengel in the Phillies dugout right now. They have no bullpen. If you don't have the weapons to go out there and win these games, it doesn't matter who the manager is. He can only pull so many guys out of the pen. And in today's sissy baseball, these guys can only throw 90 to 100 pitches, which means pretty much from the sixth inning on, you're using your bullpen, whether you like it or not. Can't believe that dude played on a broken leg. Yeah, he did. He played on a broken leg. Almost. I mean, he was a tough guy, and T.O. wanted to win a Super Bowl. He wanted to win here, and it just didn't happen. As I say that, I'm thinking to myself, did he ever win a Super Bowl? Did T.O. win a Super Bowl with the 49ers? I feel like he was on the team after they won. After Steve Young won, right? Let me see if I'm wrong. Yeah, I don't think the 49ers won it from 96 on. Nope. Yeah, that's T.O. never did win a Super Bowl. Probably the best wide receiver not to win one, but that would probably be him or Randy Moss, as he never won a Super Bowl. Some great players in the NFL. You don't hear that conversation much. You hear a lot about NBA and which great players never won, like Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, John Stockton. I don't think Gary Payton. I don't think he won one. But you don't hear the NFL much. What if the Flyers win the Cup in 2010? That seems like yesterday, Adam. Wow. That would have been I'd say in my lifetime, I'm 43. I've seen the Phillies and I've seen the Eagles. I was 5 years old when the Sixers won it in '83. I don't remember any of it. I've seen Villanova win the championship, not the Flyers. The Flyers Cups were in 1973, 74, 75. Those seasons. Randy Moss and Chris Carter. Yeah, Chris Carter, another one. Played here in Philly, and we got rid of him because Buddy Ryan said he only catches touchdown passes. That's a famous line. Yeah, Larry Fitzgerald's another great one that never won a Super Bowl. Gary Payton did win a ring with the Heat. Okay. Yeah, Dan Marino didn't win. Dan Marino only went to the one Super Bowl. It was in his rookie year in 1984 with Miami. He played on the 49ers and Joe Montana. Yeah, it must be tough, being a great one like a Dan Marino and a Randy Moss and never winning a championship. I mean, you've proven all you can prove. You've done all you could, and even like a John Elway, he didn't win until Terrell Davis came along. That great offensive line. And John Elway, as many yards as he threw for his career, was never good enough to win a Super Bowl up till those years. Remember all those battles he had back in the '80s with Cleveland, and, Bernie Kosar and the Browns, and the Dog Pound before the Browns moved to Baltimore, became the Ravens, and then replaced by a new Browns team, a new ownership. Art Modell moved them out in the middle of the night. So, where was I? What if? So yeah, basically these what ifs would have been a lot of championships. And what if Kawhi Leonard doesn't make the shot against the Sixers in 2019? Sixers go on, most likely beat Milwaukee and probably beat Golden State, and then I would have saw my championship, but didn't work out that way. The Sixers were loaded that year with Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, J.J. Redick. That's a team that should have brought us a title. We basically, as I've complained about tons and tons of times, we didn't have the Game 7 at home because Joel Embiid had to sit out 20 games for rest on back-to-backs that year, and we lost the home court to Toronto. Didn't have the home court for that game. I feel like if that game is in Philadelphia, the Sixers win, and like I said, they go on to win a title. What if Allen Iverson practiced? He did practice. He just there's a long story behind that press conference too. I just watched it recently because I believe it was the 20th anniversary of that press conference. It just showed in local television, local news channels, the 20th anniversary of that. And Allen had just lost his best friend. He had just been killed, and they had him in there and talking about. He said, "I'm the MVP of the league," and we're here talking about practice. And basically, he's saying that he didn't need the practice. His teammates did, because he was another guy. That's another subject. Another great show. A show where we could talk about great players that were never surrounded with the talent that they should have been surrounded with. You got guys like Charles Barkley, who played here in Philadelphia, and he's a top 20 player of all time probably, and the Sixers never put anybody around him. We put Hersey Hawkins, Johnny Dawkins, we put guys like Armand Gilliam, Charles Shackelford. We just never put a second star with Charles Barkley. And then it happened. The next generation, it happens again with Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson was surrounded by role players, guys like Aaron McKee and Tyrone Hill and Eric Snow. They just never had that second scorer. You could say Jerry Stackhouse, but Jerry Stackhouse is a guy that he needed 20, 30 shots to score his 20 points. He wasn't a guy that just got his points in the flow of the game. His points came through volume. He's a volume shooter. They never had that top 20. I don't even think they had a top 20 player while we had Allen Iverson here, and it's a shame. And then we had to give him away for peanuts. We had to trade Allen Iverson to Denver for Andre Miller. I mean, come on, really? No, Dikembe Mutombo. Well, I mean, that was the Theo Ratliff trade. Dikembe was once again a defensive player, and he got abused by Shaq in the finals. Well, Brian Westbrook never did win one. You're right, as Cale says. Brian Westbrook, local product out of Villanova. Played for the Eagles for a number of years, went out to the 49ers and just didn't fit in there. He didn't like his role in San Francisco. He didn't feel like he was included like he should have been. He also didn't like Mike Singletary. He didn't want to come out and say exactly what he did, but I think they won 3 games that year, and he put a lot of it on the coach. Guys didn't want to play for him. Westbrook's retired now, and he's down in Washington, D.C. area. Owns a farm outside of Washington, D.C. Wonder if he watches the Commanders games. No, I'm just kidding. So back to the Phillies, and I look at this team, and I see an offense that can put up runs. They can get you 4 or 5 runs, basically on solo home runs and 2, 3-run home runs. They need to make a change. They need to maybe get Rhys Hoskins or JT Realmuto out here and get some bullpen arms. Here's a good conversation. Best NFL player to never win a Super Bowl. Well, we named the receivers. We went through the TOs, the Randy. Here's Chris. We'll ask Chris, our co-host, right now. 8:15 on the East Coast. We welcome in our co-host, Chris, Amos, welcome.
Bobby, how's the show going so far?
It's going good. We got a lot of back and forth conversation going on in the chat, giving us a lot of what if scenarios. It's we did the what if Donovan McNabb didn't get sick in the Super Bowl. What if Allen Iverson practiced? I talked about Allen Iverson for a little bit. I talked about what if the Flyers would have won the Stanley Cup in 2010. I said, it would have been the only time I would have seen it. Now we're on an interesting question by Kale. Who is the best NFL player never to win a Super Bowl? We could just start.
Never to win one?
Yeah, I throw out T.O. and Randy Moss as the receivers. It's a good one. I'd say the best running back ever not to win a Super Bowl would be Barry Sanders.
Yeah, the best team Barry Sanders was on, they kind of ran into an Eagles team that gave him a good beating that year.
Yeah, was that like a 48-20 game or something like that?
Yeah, that was under Ray Rhodes for the Eagles. I mean, that was good playoff win, but then they went to Dallas the next week, and I think it ended up 31-3 or something.
Yeah, a lot of our seasons have ended in Dallas.
True.
Yeah, Terrence says Marino is the best quarterback. Yeah, I have to agree there. Not to win a Super Bowl.
There's a few other quarterbacks you could put in there. Warren Moon, you could put Dan Fouts.
There you go. Warren Moon and Dan Fouts. A lot of yards between those guys.
There's a lot of guys now and who've recently played, but a lot of them seem to have been able to get themselves that one Super Bowl with Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Russell Wilson.
Yeah, Terrence says Phillip Rivers. I mean, yeah, Phillip Rivers had a great career.
True.
And he got close a lot of times. We always say the Chargers are like the West Coast Eagles, and it's kind of true. But I gave you the credit earlier. I said, nobody out there thought that a $1 billion baseball team would be 10 games out of first place, but you said it all along. And I said that the big hot topic today is let's get rid of Joe Girardi in town. And I said you could put Sparky Anderson, Casey Stengel, and Tony La Russa in that dugout with that bullpen, and you're not going to win.
No, throw Bruce Bochy in there too. It ain't gonna help.
No.
What I'll say now, though, the only reason why I said that was I looked at a lineup where if they weren't hitting long balls, hitting home runs, they were going to struggle. I looked at a pitching staff to where I don't think the starters would do as well as they have. But then again, I looked to a bullpen where if the starters can't go eight innings a night, it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah, I kind of touched on that and how in today's baseball, in today's sissy baseball world, that starters are only going to go 5-6 innings, and you're going to have to lean on this bullpen for 3 to 4 innings a night, and it's not going to happen. They're not.
Well, it's funny though because Logan Webb talked himself into going the whole game last night, but it didn't work out. It worked out for his team in extra innings, but he gave up that home run to Schwarber.
Yeah, and look what happens in extra innings. The Phillies got to bring a guy, Andrew Bellotti. Come on, really? Sounds like a boxer that Rocky fought in Rocky 2 or something. Come on.
I know it was easy to do, but as soon as he came in, my tweet was he has zero chance, and there's going to be an incoming home run. But then again, I think goes back, to what you said before. They could have brought Mariano Rivera into that situation. It's the Phillies. You know what's going to happen.
Sure. And I was listening to it on the radio on the way home from the shore, and I hear the catcher. What was his name? George Casale. Is that his name?
I think so. You're close.
So, yeah, Casale. So they said Casale hasn't had a great game tonight. He's probably struggled at the plate and hasn't done much. Hasn't hit the ball hard all night. I said, here we go. Here comes a home run. And you heard the crack of the bat on the radio. Phillip Rivers was a whiny piece of sh. That's what Kale said.
I must be a Chargers fan.
That's Kale going at Terran on the chat. Hey, Phillip Rivers I always thought of him as the sidearm passer. A guy threw out of the side of his side of his arm. And I started a lot of this conversation because I'm watching the Colorado Edmonton pregame show, and John Elway's on there. And I said, anybody out there, you want to feel old? John Elway's 62 years old.
In my opinion, the greatest quarterback ever.
Yeah, I mean, he's right up there.
It's arguable. I mean, I know you throw the other names from Montana, Brady, and all that in there. I just kind of dismissed Brady right out of hand because of Philadelphia's connection. But Elway did some stuff with some teams that probably, without him being a quarterback, I mean, the team's a 5-6 win team.
Yeah.
And he drove those teams to the Super Bowl, but once you got to the Super Bowl, he couldn't do anything except for those last 2 years. I mean, awesome Super Bowl against Green Bay, and then they were able to beat the Falcons the next year when it looked like the Falcons maybe had a chance to pull the upset that Denver pulled the year before, but it didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of it was on Terrell Davis. I mean, that's what I said. All the passing he did in his career, and then ironically, it took a great running back for him to win a Super Bowl.
No, you're exactly right. And he did the smart thing too. He went out on the high note and said that was it.
Yeah.
Well, and he came back as an executive owner, part owner of the team. I guess he's part owner, but he's an executive with the team and won a Super Bowl there too. He brought in Peyton Manning.
Right.
And hey, he did it there with running too.
Yeah.
He brought Peyton Manning in, but he went to the running game to win it.
Absolutely. As Peyton Manning was shot at that point.
He would have been better throwing with his left arm.
I know. So I'm checking out the Colorado-Edmonton game here. I think we're going to see a lot of goals in this series. And then I think on the other end, we're going to see not a lot of goals in the Eastern Conference as the Rangers have advanced and they will take on Tampa Bay. But I think you'll be surprised that the Rangers took the season series from the Lightning, 3-0.
I was just going to say that. If there's any team that has a chance against the Lightning, it's them. And I don't even give them much of a chance.
Exactly. Kale says Peyton Manning is the best to ever do it. A quarterback may not have as many rings as Brady, but he never had top 10 defenses every year. Manning was the best. You could throw them all in a pot and pull them out. I mean, they played in different generations. Brett Favre was great too. I mean, nobody took the chances he did and took the beatings he did and never missed a game.
Well, if you look at Jim Kelly as well, I mean, he got his team to four Super Bowls. Now, there again, they had some good defenses and some good running. And, well, I'm sure that's a sore subject for the Buffalo show here on IE Sports Radio.
Exactly. I'm checking out the Edmonton coach, Jay Woodcroft. He looks like Seth MacFarlane a little bit.
Okay.
He did a good job this year.
Can he do the voice of Stewie?
He looks like he can.
All right. So because I was doing some umpiring, how did our Phillies take a 1-0 lead?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm watching Colorado Edmonton. I've kind of joined the hashtag No Phillies and haven't been watching.
Yeah, I mean it's just. I mean, yeah. What happened up in New York and where they sit today and everything? I mean, I don't know. I just said they have to get to 25 wins, 33 losses. If they can get there, they got a shot. Because 2 years ago, that's what 3 years ago, that's what Washington was at one point before they went on a run.
Well, right before you came on, I was starting to say that we got to make some moves. We got to trade. I think we have to trade Rhys Hoskins. I think he's the guy that's got to go. Of course, that was my next line. Of course, we'd love to see him go, but I don't think they will because I don't think they think Stubbs can be an everyday guy. The reason I say Hoskins is because we have this guy Derek Hall in the minors, and he's had 14 home runs all year already this year. So I think he's ready. It'd be easy to replace, and we could get, believe it or not, we have to get some bullpen arms. That's what we have to get.
again.
What's that?
No, I meant again more bullpen arms. You just can't go with what they have.
We have to get the right bullpen arms. Your answer your question. Their Phillies run came on a Realmuto RBI. It looked like a sac fly.
That can't be right. I'm kidding. Well, and yesterday was a classic example of where they came home. They had a disastrous road trip. They needed to get themselves kind of right the ship, and they got some good starting pitching. They couldn't do anything except hit 2 solo home runs, and of course, there was no way Gibson was going to come out of the game without the game at least being tied. Late in the game, they got a clean inning from Familia, a clean inning from Brad Hand, and you're like, well, if those two things happen, this is looking good for the Phillies, and Corey Knebel has been a disaster.
Exactly.
An absolute disaster.
Right. He's somebody we thought we'd be able to count on.
I know.
If he's a disaster, and then we're relying on Hand and Familia to work their way through innings, it's not going to work out.
No, and now the one good thing they did was they got rid of Jose Alvarado, but still, I mean, he could be back any day though. but they had to move him to bring Moniak onto the squad.
I'm surprised he cleared waivers.
I'm not.
But
I don't know if anybody was going to take a chance on that, but
Taryn says the Rangers are the team of destiny. I just wanted to throw it out there. I hope so. As I took two things. I took the Rangers, and I took the Rangers Warriors and the Rangers Celtics. So I'm going to hit the NBA side of it. It's just a matter if the Rangers can hit. And then he says he enjoys reading you two replying to the Phillies Twitter account. What's even more fun is the Phillies fans who accuse you of being too negative. Well, they used to, but now they're starting to join us. We actually have our own little following now.
Well, and the only thing I say is I can't put negative stuff on Twitter if negative stuff doesn't happen.
That's right.
All you got to do is turn the game on. It's going to start right away.
That's right.
I mean, you can't just stop flies. You got guys running each other in the outfield. You put Roman Quinn in to steal a base, and he gets thrown out at second. It's just, I just don't get it. But
how about that? They put him in to steal a base, and they said they're going to send him because if he gets thrown out, he gets to start off the extra innings on second. That was their logic behind it.
Well, and then they took Castellanos out of the lineup. Now his turn to bat did not come up again because of the home run given up. But when you looked at what happened in some of these games that they've lost recently, where they've had Bryce Harper, they've had Nick Castellanos, they've had Kyle Schwarber hit late inning huge home runs that teams usually end up catapulting the team to a victory. And all it did was just open the door for someone to come in and be like the Phillies.
It's frustrating because, the offense probably has done enough to win a lot of these games. The defense and the pitching hasn't. And Edmonton went right down and scored. Breakaway.
But they don't fool around, do they?
You're going to see a lot of goals. Kale says a few years ago the Rangers were really bad. They made an epic turnaround. Tampa is so experienced and so good. Kind of want the Lightning in three-peat. I don't want that. But they have some injuries. They have Sergachev and Braden Point. A couple injuries. They have had 9 days of rest while the Rangers just played last night, and they'll have to start tomorrow night. Quick turnaround. But they are home. And sometimes I think it's better for the team that keeps playing. They're already in playoff mode. Tampa Bay's going to have to crank it back up. They're going to have to, they might have a little rust to knock off.
Yeah, I mean, that's something you always have to look at. I mean, that's not going to be an issue going into the NBA Finals because they have a long layoff. Golden State with a longer layoff, but I mean, even Boston with some days off because they pushed the start of that series back. I think it actually goes 7, and then I would pick Golden State to win Game 7, but who knows?
I went over a little bit earlier. I talked a little bit about it, and as Colorado comes down and they score 2-on-1, it's like an all-star game.
Didn't you just say something about high-scoring games?
Wow. So, I was saying it's going to be really exciting to watch Boston's defense try to stop Golden State's offense. It's going to be like a chess match. I don't know. That's some good basketball.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it. I mean, a lot of Philly fans are like, I don't want to see Boston. Hey, I can't get mad at Boston. We didn't do our part.
No, and the interesting thing was I was surprised at the last two games how well Miami played, winning a game in Boston and forcing Game 7. And I was shocked that the game was that close, Game 7. Because I thought Boston, even though they were going to Miami is a different place in the playoffs versus any other place on the road, seemingly. And wow, because I really didn't think Miami was that good.
No, I agree. Yeah, we didn't think they were that good. No. Ultimately, they did lose. It would have been a great series, 7 games. A lot of it like Jimmy Butler.
I still think they would have beaten the Sixers probably in Game 7 if Embiid had been healthy. But that's never going to happen. So
yeah, I know, right?
But I still think they probably would have won that series, but it would have been different because I think maybe the Sixers could have taken one of the first two in Miami. With no Embiid, there was no chance.
Sure.
Apparently, Embiid had some surgeries today.
Yeah, he had had the thumb repaired, and he had another quick little surgery on the pinky finger, right? Have we heard of the index finger?
It was. Yeah, I think it was, and I don't know, and next week he goes in and he gets every part of his leg fixed too. I guess. I don't know.
Then they put him on ice and wait for the playoffs to start next year.
Hey, why not?
So we kind of set this one up. Ranger Suarez got pulled with just 1 out in the 5th.
So the Phillies are ready to lose that game.
It's first and second, 1 out. Our super bullpen ace, Nick Nelson, in the pitch.
Yeah, the Phillies are going to lose again tonight.
It's like every time we say one of their names, like, oh, there's not one pitcher where we say, yeah, we're going to shut down this inning.
No, and I don't know. I guess because they don't tell you what's going on. I don't know what's going on with Sir Anthony Dominguez. He just won't pitch him.
No.
And for some reason, it seems like he's been the most reliable, but he's another guy who, at any given point, can get the first 2 out, walk 2, and then give up a double.
Right.
It just, I don't know. I watched these other teams, and there's, to me, now, I might have a little bit of anti-Phillies bias because I watch them the most, and it's so frustrating. But even when I just look at these other teams, even teams like the Pirates, teams like the Orioles and stuff, those guys are excited to play baseball. I posted last night on Twitter because I had to go back and rewind it and then post it. The ending of the Pirates-Dodgers game. Just the excitement from the announcers and the players and everything when they won that game. I mean, I was like, oh, that's what winning a baseball game is like?
Who won? Pirates?
Yes.
Dodgers. I like the Pirates.
The Dodgers pulled the Phillies last night.
I like the Pirates last night. They were plus 295. I said, anytime you get a baseball team before a game, plus 295.
Well, they were ahead 4-0, the Pirates.
Wow.
And the Dodgers came back to take the lead 5-4 in the 8th, and they brought in Craig Kimbrell, and he blew the save.
Ah, guy won it.
It was tie, and I'm trying to think if I think it was tie, and then the Dodgers, whatever happened, Freddie Freeman made a costly error for him.
Oh boy.
And the pitcher who gave it up to the Dodgers for the Pirates, they put him back out there then to try to win the game. And I forget his name, but it was the first time he threw 50 pitches in a game. But he got the last strikeout. Like I said, you would have thought they won the World Series. Actually, the announcer was so funny. He said, "Strike 3, the ball game's over. Get jiggy with it." I was like, "Wow, he brought that back."
Bases loaded for the Giants.
as he walked the first guy he faced on 4 pitches, Tommy La Stella.
All right, it's 8:36 here on the East Coast for IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And I'm going to do some reads for you, pay some bills here.
You got it.
These Southern California Warriors. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organizations. Players pay to play in hopes of so many different outcomes. Whether it's playing to get film, to try out for professional teams, big-time colleges, hey, or just playing to stay in shape, as the Giants are about to clear the bases. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Whether you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance. If you love your sport, you may get that second chance that you've been waiting for as an athlete. You could find the Southern Cal Warriors on Twitter at SoCal Warriors, on Instagram at Southern California _Warriors, or on Facebook, Southern California Warriors. IE Sports Radio for the last 8 years. IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country, including right here in Philadelphia. All the while, we've been by the fans, for the fans, and with your help, we're ready to take the next step. When you go to our website, iesportsradio.com, you'll see our Patreon link with 5 different tiers. The first one starting at just $5 a month. This donation gets you shout-outs on all 32 of our shows. Higher tiers include IE Sports Radio merchandise, access to our podcasting university, and even a chance to be featured on a segment of our flagship show, The Defining Moment with Larry. Thank you all very much for continuing to make IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. And we do have 4 Patreon supporters. We have Bay Area Raised. We have Marcus Lowe's Great. We have Keyed to the Gate. And an anonymous supporter. We thank you all. And our fan of the month is Justin Ekstrom. He's a Minnesota Vikings fan from Minnesota. And if you want to check him out on Twitter, he's at thesportscrib21. Thank you to everyone for making our 8th anniversary so special. Here's to many years to come. And we'll be back in a minute.
You put us on mute?
No. No, I did.
Welcome in to the Neutral Zone. I'm your host, Robert Kavanaugh, and you're listening to IE Sports Radio. If you like big, nasty hits, if you like slap shots straight to the neck, if you like it when the blood hits the ice and the big boys get down, then this is your show. On IE Sports Radio, this is the Neutral Zone. May our shots on goal always be true and straight to the net. If they are not, may they be followed up, redirected, or change collected. Let's go on IE Sports Radio with me, your host, Robert Kavanaugh, and this is the Neutral Zone.
What's up, everybody? This is Darren Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunderous Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back, everybody, to segment 2 of Philly Sports Talk here on IE Sports Radio with Cash and Chris. This is the slow time of the year. If the Phillies were half decent, it would be Phillies' time of the year. But since they are pretty much, I don't know the word, abysmal, it's 100 days until the Eagles season starts. Yeah.
And it's countdown to 100 losses for the Phillies.
It'll be somewhere around there.
Yeah. Let's get to NASCAR.
Man, what a race that was. I mean, first you thought that Chastain was going to win, then you thought Larson was going to win. Suarez had a segment where he thought he had a chance. Mr. Hamlin.
No chance. They had no chance with Denny there.
Yeah, and then a guy with a 10th place car comes up and wins the race.
I know. I texted you. He was as bad as the Phillies.
Yep.
The way he was running early midway through that race.
Yep, he won by process of elimination. But I think the fact that he's Kyle Busch's teammate helped them out. You know, Kyle wasn't going to wreck his teammate or try to wreck each other. So they came up with the 1-2. Mickey Moniak's batting here. All that great spring training, he looks horrible up at the plate.
And coming back from a hand injury and all that, I guess he was hitting pretty well in the minors, but so what? That's minor league pitching.
Mm-hmm. He always hits good in the minors and preseason, but never during the regular season.
No.
He just swings at everything, and then he takes the third strike. He's just lost up there.
Well, he fits into Philadelphia then.
Yep. Backdoor breaking ball gets him. Is that Nick Jonas on the mound for San Francisco? That's his name, right? Jonas?
I don't know. Like I said, I don't have it on. I'm just heading home from the ball game, but it might be Nick Jonas, but isn't that a singer as well?
Yeah.
For the Jonas Brothers? Yeah.
Yeah, this basically is. It is. This really is the slow time of year. I mean, it's hard to do a long show. I mean, an hour is about as much as we could do right now. There's nothing going on. It's just no moves are being made. Flyers still don't have a coach.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have either playoff hockey or playoff basketball to discuss surrounding Philadelphia as well, but it's not there. If the Philadelphia Stars have a winning record,
couldn't tell you one player.
I know. I just know they're 4-3. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Terrence says the same thing. Nick Jonas from the Jonas Brothers. I don't know if his first name's Jonas. His last name's Jonas. It's not J. It's like Junis. Jonas.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you put Nick Jonas from the Jonas Brothers out there, he'd strike Mickey Moniak as well. So what difference does it make?
Probably. Old manager Kapler's back in town.
Yeah, he made a little bit of news this week. I mean, it's kind of gone by the wayside now, but just saying he was going to stay in the dugout for the national anthem.
Yeah, I don't get that. I mean, it wasn't an anti-American thing that happened. You know what I mean?
Well, it's America's pastime, baseball, but
No, I mean that what the reasoning he's doing it was had nothing to do with anything America did. I don't know.
yeah, I know. You're right. I mean, he wasn't staying in the dugout, when the season started, and every weekend there's people shot in Philadelphia and Chicago and other places.
Exactly.
It's just that this here being a thing with a school and the way that the media has latched onto it like they always do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, even yet the coach of the Warriors come out, make some statements as well.
Yeah.
And
Look,
but I mean, as coaches and athletes, I mean, they do have a platform and they do have people who listen to them. I don't know if it's really the best thing for them to use that platform for those type of things, but hey.
I know.
But that brought to mind even that Colin Kaepernick was still trying to make his way back into the NFL. Wasn't he trying out for the Raiders recently?
He was trying out for the whole league, wasn't he? He was doing an open workout.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say that because before we came on, there was this George Carlin special on HBO, and they actually showed Kaepernick. And one of his rants there, we'll talk after the show. We don't want to say this on the air.
Yeah, exactly.
Where was I? Mets lead 4-0. Looks like they'll win the division by probably 15 games. Avalanche are up 2-1, 3 goals in the first period.
Wow.
Guys should be gambling, not doing a talk show.
Yeah, things look like they're going the way you thought they would. I don't know what that over under was for the game tonight, the hockey game.
I don't know either. I didn't look. I'm sure it was 6.5 or 7.
It looks like the over is probably a good bet.
That's that West Coast.
Yeah.
All right, so we got 10 minutes left. We've done it every show I think we've ever done, so it's time for the Flyers Minute. Boo! Boo!
They still don't have a coach, do they?
Nope.
My goodness.
They don't have many players either.
Even the Lakers found a coach.
Yeah, Darvin Ham.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I saw was that John Tortorella said, I was interviewed from the Flyers, and I'll leave it at that.
It lost my phone number.
Gee.
Is Claude Giroux going to come back next year?
No.
Really?
He'll be a Panther.
You think?
He'll be a Panther. Yeah. If anything, I think the irony would be if he became a Penguin.
Well, he obviously wants to win, so I guess whoever wins the Stanley Cup will sign with them.
Well,
Tampa Bay will win it, and then they'll go for 4 and he'll lose.
Yeah, we thought he was we thought he was being traded to a team that was going to be in the finals, but.
Hey, you know what? Those games weren't blowouts. They were in those games. They just couldn't score.
No, they couldn't score like the regular season. You're right. Yeah. And for whatever reason, that for a number of years here, Tampa's had the right recipe. They have the right players. They play the right kind of style on offense and defense. The fact that they are so fast on offense does not limit them on defense. It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
And it's almost like when they play the Flyers. I mean, I'm trying to think of a horrible comparison or something like that. It's like driving a Ferrari or driving an old Beetle. It's like there's no comparison.
It really is. All right, let's go to TV. This way we get a little more time to talk about what we're going to talk about. Stranger Things made its debut this week. And we watched a little bit of the first episode. You ever watch it?
I have not.
No. I mean, it's 80.
What season?
It's season 4.
Okay.
It's like how can I explain it? It's like a Wonder Years meets
what's the space part of it? How can I explain that part? You have like an upside down multi-universe. It's like kind of like
Twilight Zone.
Yeah, kind of like Goonies, Twilight Zone, and Wonder Years all in one.
Okay.
But it's based in the 80s. It's, when we were growing up watching shows.
That there is something. I'll have to put that on my list now that it hits the summer, because I with this past week I caught up on the and they're all NBC shows that I watch. I caught up on Law and Order SVU,
Okay.
Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, and Chicago PD. And they've all had their
Big Chicago
season
thing.
finales.
This is Philly sports talk, okay? This isn't Chicago sports talk.
Well, you asked me about TV.
I know.
There's no Philly fun. Hey, that one day we had Sacramento Kings talk.
We scrapped those shows.
True.
Like I said, I'm just continuing slowly but surely watching Better Call Saul, and it's getting better and better. Just like I've been told, it's the kind of show that you have to stick with and watch, and it's really good. What else? Better Call Saul. We watched old.
Yeah, when you mention that, I know there's going to be some time when I'll walk into the bedroom and my wife's going to have that on at some point. I can just see it going to happen at some point.
You just have to get through the first episode. Once you get through the first episode, it gets really good.
Because I think she's watched through Breaking Bad at least 3 times.
Wow. Well, I mean, if you watch Breaking Bad, you have to watch Better Call Saul because, from what I understand, it leads you right up to them. And now I think they're showing I'm not sure because I haven't watched it, but I assume they're going to show you what Saul was doing while Walter and Jesse were doing their thing.
Okay.
Which is really cool. I mean, for all we know, he was making deals behind the scenes, you know what I mean, with his guys. So there's a lot. And his name's not Saul Goodman, by the way. His name's Jimmy McGill. James McGill. Yeah, Saul Goodman is alter ego he uses. And they scam people. He meets a guy coming out of a bar, and he leads him up a driveway, like an alleyway, and he says, "What's your name?" And he says, Saul Goodman. And he goes, "Why? What? That's your name?" He goes, "It's all good, man." So that's where it comes from. It's all good, man. So he finds a wallet on the ground, and he gives it to the guy. He's like, "Look, a wallet." And then up ahead is a guy laying on the ground. It looks like he's drunk and all passed out. And on his wrist is a Rolex. And the guy's like, Saul goes for the Rolex, takes it, gives it to the guy. He says, "What kind of watch is this?" He goes, "It's a Rolex." He goes, "Is it worth anything?" He goes, "You could keep the cash in the wallet. I'll take the watch." He says, "That's not fair. That's got to be worth $3,000. He says, "All right, I'll give you whatever cash I got in my wallet." So he gives him $480 from his wallet, and he runs with the watch. And then the guy on the ground sits up, and he's Saul's buddy. They scam the guy. They go home. They got a whole drawer full of fake Rolexes.
Apparently, it's been working for him.
Yeah. That's just one of his scams. That's a good show.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll be stuck on that for a while.
Yeah, I haven't checked out movies recently. I still have, I believe, the final 2 episodes. It's only been 1 season. It was a show called The Young Pope. It was from 2016, but very, 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 very interesting show if you're into type of.
I remember.
A little bit. I mean, of course, it's a religion show, but it's kind of an anti-religion show within a religion show.
Okay. Yeah, I remember when it came out. I tried to watch it. I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, it's Diane Keaton in it and Jude Law.
Yeah. How about what was the other show? Drawing a blank. Gomorrah. Did you ever watch Gomorrah?
I did not.
Yeah, that's one of the best ones.
Did that currently has ended.
Yeah, that's all done. Yeah, that won't be coming back on.
Okay.
The Phillies down 3-1 here, and man on first and second. You got Dean Segura, 3-2 count. But hey, even if he hits a 3-run homer here, what's that mean? They'll lose 9-3, 9-4.
Yeah, the bullpen comes in, and whoever else is coming out of the bullpen. Like I said, I'd rather have Rick Nelson than Nick Nelson.
Yeah.
Or Don Nelson. Put him out there.
Yeah.
That man wasn't a bad coach.
Yeah, he wasn't. Segura struck out. Back to the Colorado-Edmonton game, 3-2 in the first. You know what, though? We take the over now. It's 1-0. Yeah.
That's how it works.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, time flew, as usual. 8:57.
Well, the only thing I want to say, though, was since you mentioned that, I read today on Twitter, though, that there's 4 players who actually suited up for the Flyers this year who are still playing. Don't ask me their names, but...
Wow.
So, that's... Wow. Who actually played on the team this year and are still playing. So... And one of them's not Claude Giroux.
I mean, I watched the whole Rangers game. I didn't see any on that team.
I thought there might not be one.
I don't see any on Tampa either. I've watched them plenty of times. It's got to be in the West.
Yeah, I wish I could find that quickly, but I can't.
It's all right. All right, well, we flew through another hour. We want to say thank you to everybody that joined us. It was a cool episode. Talked a lot of football. Talked a lot of baseball. A little basketball, a little hockey. Where can they find you?
Yeah, let me just say that topic of what if, boy, we could do that constantly here on Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris. There's plenty of what ifs surrounding Philadelphia.
There sure is. So Taryn, Kale, Larry, that's it. Adam, thank you guys. We appreciate everybody listening every week. You can find me on Twitter at BobbyCash215. You can find you at
Chris Amos 717.
Until next week, everybody have a great one. We'll see you next time.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.